Mounting Solutions Plus.
Welcome to another episode of Assault Rifle Basics. I'm your host, Perry Lloyd.
And I'm his co-host, Buck Tyrell.
Now today we got a really great show.
Exactly. We're finally talking about owning fully automatic weapons. I'm talking Class 3 firearms.
We'll define what Class 3 firearms are a little bit later in the show.
But before we get to that, we do need to say that we will be speaking of federal United States laws. And those of you that aren't in the good old USA will enjoy this episode.
That's right, Buck. We have Jackie Tedesco, our on-the-scene reporter, interviewing a gun collector.
Yeah, you don't want to miss that. But why don't we go ahead and define some of the terms that will be used in this interview.
First of all, let's talk about a law that was created in 1968, called the Gun Control Act of 1968.
This law created the Federal Firearms License. This is where you can't have guns mailed directly to you. If you buy them off the internet, for example, they must go to an FFL license holder. Then you get it from them. Under federal law, two private parties can sell directly to each other, but it has to be face-to-face transaction.
However, there are states that don't allow private sales, and they are California, District of Columbia, Hawaii, Maryland, Massachusetts, New Jersey, New York, and some counties in Florida.
And these are states that require you to buy handguns from an FFL holder. They are Connecticut, Michigan, North Carolina, and Rhode Island.
Now, even though we're providing this information, always go check with your state laws when you go buy a gun.
But continuing on, while the Gun Control Act prohibits the direct mail ordering of firearms, a person may ship a gun via contract carrier, such as UPS, Federal Express, to a gunsmith who also has an FFL, or a gun maker's factory for repairs or modification.
The law requires serial numbers to be imprinted on guns.
Now let's talk about people who are prohibited to have in their possession a firearm. They are 1. Anyone who has been convicted in any court of a crime punishable by imprisonment or a term exceeding 1 year, excluding crimes of imprisonment that are related to the regulation of business practices. 2. Anyone who is a fugitive from justice. 3. Anyone who is an unlawful user of or addicted to any controlled substance. 4. Anyone who has been adjudicated as a mental defective or has been committed to a mental institution. 5. Any alien illegally or unlawfully in the United States or an alien admitted to the United States under a non-immigrant visa. 6. Anyone who has been discharged from the U.S. Armed Forces under dishonorable conditions. 7. Anyone who, having been a citizen of the United States, has renounced his or her citizenship. 8. Anyone that has been subject to a court order that restrains the person from harassing, stalking, or threatening an intimate partner or the child of such intimate partner. 9. Anyone who has been convicted of a misdemeanor crime of domestic violence. 10. Anyone who is under the age of 18 for a shotgun or rifle, or under age 21 for a handgun.
Another important law is the Firearms Owners Protection Act. This is where the machine gun ban actually came from.
On May 19, 1986, the federal government banned the sale of any automatic weapon or machine gun manufactured after that date to private citizens. However, an automatic weapon manufactured before that date can be legally purchased. These types of guns are known as Class 3 transferable weapon.
Now make sure you visit www.atf.gov for further clarification of these laws. As a matter of fact, a better idea would be to go to a reputable FFL dealer. I'm sure they'll help you if you have any questions. Because you see, Buck and I, we're not lawyers. We don't even play ones on TV.
Maybe now would be a good time to define what a Class 3 weapon really is. A Class 3 weapon is defined as machine gun. This means any rifle that has full auto capability. Sound suppressors, also known as silencers. Short-barreled shotguns, barrels that are under 18 inches or an overall length of 26 inches. Short-barreled rifles, barrels that are under 16 inches or an overall length of 26 inches. Destructive devices like bombs or grenades, and finally something called AOWs or any other weapons, which include lots of things like bazookas, shoulder-fired missiles, heavy-duty stuff like that. I mean, use common sense.
Okay, Buck, we got a really interesting interview coming up. And Jackie Tedesco's out there, and she's interviewing somebody that has one of the coolest gun collections I know I've ever seen. Now, when we get inside his vault, You gun experts out there will notice that we did not label every single weapon. So here's a challenge to you to define or tell us what the weapons are, and we'll tell you where you can do that a little bit later in the show. But we didn't label all of them. Let's see if you can do it.
Well, sounds like a good deal. Jackie?
Hi Perry and Buck, we're here with Ross, and for security purposes, we have changed his identity. Ross, we're here to talk about your gun collection. What got you started in it?
Oh, I believe probably video gaming. So I was a video gamer playing the Tom Clancy Raven Shield games as well as Medal of Honor and whatnot. So playing with all these guns online or on the games, we started getting into, wow, I wonder what it'd be like to shoot them really in person. So there it began. We started with an AK-47, and from there it kind of expanded into a considerable collection of full auto and class 3 firearms.
So Ross, why do you have a gun vault?
Well, for one thing, I have children in the house, and guns are completely safe so long as they're stored properly. And a gun vault means, it's just, I don't have to ever worry about the kids getting their hands on a gun. The second reason is because of security. Many of these full auto firearms, and just firearms themselves in general, but full auto firearms especially, are worth a lot of money. They're anywhere from, I think I have firearms up in the $25,000, $30,000 value range. Another part of it is if any one of them's ever stolen it's a huge issue with the ATF. So any gun that goes missing has to be tracked, reported. It's a big deal. And as much as possible, not a private collector and not an FFL, a federal firearms license holder, would want a gun stolen. It's a real pain.
If a gun is stolen, are you able to buy machine guns in the future?
No, if a gun is stolen, it's not, if it were a pattern, I imagine it would be a problem with the ATF, but typically it's not a big issue. You just have to go through the proper forms, let them know what's happened. They may send someone out to your home, it's not a problem, but as much as possible, you'd like to just keep an absolutely clean record with the ATF. Having a gun stolen is a big issue. You don't want that to happen, but you wouldn't lose your license over it.
So Ross, why do you have such a big gun collection?
Well, I have such a large collection, I think, just because I got into it and with the intention of collecting certain guns. And so as time has gone on, I've accumulated pretty much everything I wanted to, everything that I found interesting on the video game format. I picked up in real life and have become a real enthusiast. I don't know, it's tough to explain. I mean, if you're a guy who likes to shoot guns, it's pretty easy to understand. They make a lot of noise and they're really fun to shoot. We've got 2 different gun ranges here on some property near my home, and they're a riot to shoot.
Coming up next in our show.
Did you also do this as an investment?
The Class 3 firearms are an excellent investment. I have never seen a firearm lose value over time. So when you pick up a Class 3 firearm, there are only so many in existence, so many transferable firearms. And there never will be any more, and over time there will be less and less. So when you buy one, they will almost certainly go up in value. So that, yeah, they've been a tremendous investment. In fact, I've gotten to the point where I'll just buy many multiples of one gun if I think the price is low, and sit on them for a year or 2, and usually the price will double in that time, which makes it tough for the initial collector because the price of these guns, for example, an MP5 when I started collecting, I think was in the $7,000 range. Now you'll have a hard time finding an MP5 for under $15,000 to $20,000. It's become really expensive.
So how much time went by for the value to increase from $7,000 to $15,000 on the MP5?
The MP5 has gone up in value so much, probably over the course of 4 years, it's doubled in value, my MP5s. So, and that's not unusual. And probably the least expensive gun to pick up is a Mac 9 or a Mac 10 Uzi. And those have gone from, I think I purchased all of mine under $2,000, and I think they're in the $3,000, $3,500 range now. So they've gone up 75% in 3 years. So a lot of these guns are just climbing in value, and ultimately they just become less and less affordable. They're more specific to a focused investor, somebody who's really willing to invest in them. So unless the laws change radically, the prices will just keep going up and the value will just keep going up.
Do restrictive gun laws help increase the value of your guns?
The laws have actually become more open. So under the Bush administration, the Brady bill sunsetted, or the assault weapons ban sunsetted, and it actually killed the value of a lot of the AK variants. All of mine are full auto, so they weren't impacted by the assault weapons ban sunsetting. But laws have actually become more open. The ATF has become more cooperative with arms dealers, actually with firearms dealers. It's actually gotten easier, and so the laws aren't really impacting the value of the guns. It's just the scarcity of the guns themselves, because every time a gun breaks or wears out, that's one less gun on the market, and they'll never be replaced.
You know, that Ross, he's got some pretty cool weapons.
Yes, he does, Buck. As a matter of fact, we're going to continue with that interview on the next episode.
You know, I understand that we have a new forum now.
We do. You can find it at www.assaultriflebasics.com/A, R, B, forum.
Well, you know, on a different topic, I really like what you did with Ross's voice on there.
You like that, huh?
You know, you kind of lowered it down a little bit, because I've met the guy, you know, he ain't got no voice like that.
Well, yeah.
You know, you think you could do that to me?
Yeah, sure, go
You know,
ahead, say
like right
something.
now? Okay, let me try this.
So, what's going on, ladies? How about me and you put on a Barry Manilow album and just get down to business?
Barry Manilow. Well, yeah, that's got to have him Twitter-pated by now. But see you next time.
Check you later.